What is going on, everybody? It is Sean, or the Armchair Coach. And unfortunately, while recording episode 4 of our Celtics Chaos rebuild, some unfortunate things happened with my recording software, so I ended up losing a lot of footage from the session, and I will tell you that it was not going very well up until that point anyway. But we have refreshed our chaos, I think, for what I think is going to be our rule set the entire way through all of our chaos rebuilds that we do. We are going to leave all of our restrictions off, or restrictions on. All of the league rules will still be in place, and that will add to the challenge. However, today, for this rebuild, we're going to try out and see how it goes when we try to do it with a roster that is already assembled in real life. So instead of tearing the NBA apart and putting new players on new teams, we're going to take a team that exists in the NBA today, and we're going to try to win a championship if the wheel is deciding what we do. So we are going to spin the wheel for the first time here, see what team we are landing on, and then we will begin the season. On our screen, we've got 30 NBA teams. We're going to shuffle this up real nice and then give this a spin. What team will be controlling for this modern NBA series? We will be taking over the New Orleans Pelicans. So the Pelicans have been getting a lot of flack recently because they were a team that significantly struggled through last season. I think they finished with a, hold on, I will look this up off screen real quick. That's what I thought. They finished with a 26-56 record last season and promptly decided to do really jack shit this offseason to fix the team. And when we take a look at the roster here soon, I'm sure, aside from Zion, who can never stay healthy, we're not going to be looking at a whole lot, but we will see here in just a second as we get into the next couple setup options here. So one thing that we are going to try to do again is we are going to try to change the league rules so we can, I'm assuming that makes, okay, so we have abolished the trade deadline, and that means we should have trades throughout the season. That is, I think, the one thing we are changing. And we are going to control the New Orleans Pelicans today. So we will take a look at the roster here in a second. I believe it is, we will go ahead and introduce the draft class as well. Like I noticed, by the way, while I was filming episode 4 as well, that the draft class for the Celtics was, or the draft class for that rebuild was just very inaccurate as far as names go, so I'm going to make sure this time I find a draft class that is as accurate as possible. So give me just a moment, and then we will be right back. So we have put our draft class in here, and as you can see, it looks a lot better as far as the names. We got a lot more accuracy here. Darius Acuff Jr. is in here. That looks a lot like Dyson Daniels, doesn't it? But everybody in here is in here. Yaxel Lendeborg, who we saw in Celtics Dynasty, was also down here. But got less high overall, but hopefully he'll still develop in this sim. But looking at our roster now, we are led by Zion and Trey Murphy. We've got DeJounte Murray, Saddiq Bey, Derek Queen, Jeremiah Fears, and Herbert Jones at the top of this squad. I mean, on paper, this is a team that shouldn't be going 26-56. However, when you look at Zion, he can't stay healthy. DeJounte Murray has just never really put it all together. He's always been here and there, and he's always been a solid guy. I mean, Atlanta the last 2 years, he finally kind of broke out and reached past that 20-point per game barrier. But this year, he immediately regressed on the Pelicans, and it could just be the quality of basketball they were playing. And then, as far as everyone else, you know, Saddiq Bey is all right. Derek Queen is fine. Jeremiah Fears is a promising young guy that I think they can definitely develop around. And then Herbert Jones is a great defender, but he's kind of just that. Great on defense. He can maybe get you some three-pointers out on the edge. And then you've got like DeAndre Jordan, who they just gave a big deal to come back. You've got Yves Missi as your starting center. So the team definitely has holes. So we are going to look and see what we can do to fill said holes here. But doing so will be at the whim of the wheel. So we will give our wheel a spin for the very first time this season, and we will see what our Pelicans are doing to start 2026. Or is it 2025? Who knows? Chaos wheel on the screen. We have 22 effects on it now. So what are we going to do? We are trading for something. We are trading for a team's oldest player. The unction follows us to New Orleans. It's Mardi Gras for the Unks here. So we will see who we are finding an old player to acquire from. We'll spin the team wheel here. Who is it going to land on? It looks like it might be the Los Angeles Clippers that we are making a deal with here. So I will go ahead and get something up on the screen here and then check back in with you. All right, so we are looking at the Clippers roster here, and I see who we are going to acquire here. It's someone we ended up bringing in Celtics Dynasty. We're going to see if we can make a deal here for Brook Lopez, who I actually don't hate acquiring here. I think with the quality of centers we've got on this roster, Brook Lopez might actually be a positive for us. That's an interesting deal. A little bit too much unction going on here. They'll give us Brook for Sadiq Bey, and they'll give us a first back. Derek Queen, and they'll give us a first. I mean, we're talking about the Clippers. The Clippers are not a great squad either, but do we really want to give up? I think the deal I'm most comfortable with here is this Herbert Jones for Brook and Bogdan deal. It's not like the most strong deal ever. Maybe we throw... They don't even have any like real first round assets. So maybe we'll try to get a couple seconds. Have some extra draft capital. Okay, we can add an exception. They've got a counter. All right, so they want a... Yeah, I guess. I mean, this is... Like, there's just so much going on here, but in reality, it just means a whole lot of nothing here. We'll give up Micah Peavy and Herbert Jones, and we'll get some old guys here. But, I mean, Bogdan might still be able to contribute. He's still putting up 11 points a game last season, so still might be able to pull something out of him. He also might just not play with the roster we have. But they're asking for a 2028 top 3 protected. That's 2 years down the road. I think we can afford to give that up. And then we'll also get a first-round pick the next year in return. So we will go ahead and take that offer. I will adjust our coaching game plan here, and then I will check back in with you. Okay, so here's the squad. I think you might call me crazy, but we are going to let Brook Lopez have some starting minutes. I think even at 37, he can still play some effective basketball for us. So I will happily let him take some starting minutes here. We're going to let Zion lead the way as far as our minutes go. Probably will regret that based off of how much he actually ends up playing during the season, but got to let him try. So we will see now how long we will actually sim for before we check back in with each other. Okay, games wheel up on the screen. Let's give it a spin. How long are we going to be waiting to start this season? So we will go off on a 17-game stretch to start the year before we see each other again. So I will see you very soon with our next Chaos Spin. So we have reached the 17-game mark, and we are 5-12 so far. Not off to a hot start. Let's take a look at our stats. So far, Zion's averaging almost 27 points a game, with DeJounte Murray averaging 22. Maybe I shouldn't have talked so much smack. And Trey Murphy only averaging 18. Teams looking like they've got some potential around them. They just have to start putting it together. Brook, who we just acquired, is only getting us 8-4. I mean, honestly, we'd almost be better off considering starting Derek Queen at center, as crazy as that is to say. And Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to reconsider having Brook in the starting lineup. But with that being said, it's time to spin the wheel again, so let's bring it back up here. How are we going to disassemble the roster this time? Oh, maybe we're not. Nope, we are going to be making a trade here. We're trading for a team's worst player. Okay, so what team are we making that deal with? This is probably one of the least negative effect. Oh, that's our team. We got to get us out of there. I love how this happens. Hold on, let me remove us from the wheel real quick, and then we'll spin again. Okay, so we've spun the wheel again, and it looks like we are making a deal with the Cavaliers. That is a team we have not made a deal with yet, so we will look at their worst player and then put a deal up on our screen here soon. We are looking at the Cavaliers roster here, and although Tyrese Proctor is tied for the worst overall, he's also a rookie. So we're going to go with the notion here that Larry Nance is the worst player on their roster, so we will throw a deal up here. What are they willing to... Wow, this is an interesting deal. What else can we do? Yeah, this is probably the most likely deal I'll take here. Wow, the Cavs have nothing but firsts. Jeez, dude. Yeah, no, I guess we'll just take that. So, DeAndre Jordan, luckily, was pretty expendable. We brought in Brook Lopez, and, you know, we've got this, overbearingly large amount of talent in the center room, I guess. So, acquiring Larry Nance here, who's only 6'6", so I have no idea why he's playing center. If anything, I'm about to put him at small forward, because that makes more sense for his size. So, let me do that real quick. And then... I don't think that affects the minutes because he shouldn't have been getting any, DeAndre Jordan. And with that, we will go ahead and spin the game wheel again and see what we will be doing or how many games until we do something next. All right. How many games will it be this time? Had a big chunk to start the year, but we will have no relief from the wheel at all this season. So... a couple of big chunks back-to-back is actually pretty nice, as we will get another 15-game chunk here, and I will check in with you guys in 15 games to see what we are spinning to do next. 15 games have passed, and we are here at the December 29th mark, and we are only 11-23. We're looking at the bottom of the conference as far as our performance. But, stat-wise, it hasn't been that bad. Zion's been healthy all year, and he's been scoring the basketball. I don't know what it is. We just aren't really producing positive results there on the court. So, we will now spin the wheel again to see what we can possibly do now to maybe help our team, because I don't think anything could hurt it at this point.
Are you sure?
I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that, because... the wheel can make some crazy things happen here, like, perhaps starting our worst player. So we will have to see who our worst player is, and we will put them in the starting lineup. And how many games are we going to be doing that for? This would be an effect that would be nice to do for less than 12 games, perhaps 3. That's definitely agreeable. So we will take a look at our roster and see who's getting some starting minutes for the next 3 games. Okay, so we kind of have a 3-way tie going here for the worst player on our roster. We have Trey Alexander, Hunter Dickinson, and Jordan Hawkins, who are all, or not Jordan Hawkins, we have Josh Oduro here, who are all 68 overall. But Hunter Dickinson here is 25 years old in that bed, so I would consider him to be the worst because he's the oldest and the least developed. So we're going to swap him and Brook Lopez here, and then we will fix the rest of the minutes, and then I will check back in with you soon. Okay, so lineup set now. So we've got Hunter Dickinson here getting 33 minutes for the next 3 games, and Brook Lopez will get a chance to catch his breath, only playing 13. So we will check back in 3 games and see what the results of that experiment are. So 3 games have passed, didn't take very long, but we did win 2 of them. So maybe Hunter Dickinson is the secret here. Let's take a look at the box score. Trey Murphy, Sadiq Bey, and DeJounte Murray all combining for 20-plus there. Derek Queen and Zion not producing much in the game. And Hunter Dickinson only doing 3 and 9. Okay, what about this game? Definitely the breakout game, right? Where is he at? Okay, 5-5. Two assists and 2 blocks. And then what about here in this loss? Okay, 7-5. Okay, he was getting better every game. Learning how to contribute. You go, Hunter. Get yourself some playing time. Get absolutely fucking benched, pal. I cannot wait to get you out of my starting lineup. We will go ahead and I'm actually going to go ahead and make the move to put Yves Missi in. We'll see if maybe Yves Missi can give us some solid play at center. And we'll let Brook Lopez get some bench minutes now. He's still tired and he's cold as of late. He's averaging 8, 4, and not much else. 2 blocks, I guess. So he's having a decent enough year, but just not the scoring numbers we were hoping to see out of him. So we will now see what we are spinning on the Chaos Wheel to do this time. We will give it a spin. The wheel hasn't been too mean, but it hasn't been too great either, as we're going to have to trade a young player for an Unk. Yikes. Okay, so what team are we acquiring an Unk from? And what deal are we going to make for him? This is kind of like acquiring an old player, but we have a little bit more freedom with this, I think, as we will make a deal with the Hawks, and I will be right back when we have an offer on the screen. I've got an interesting offer. CJ McCollum here. He's 34 years old. He's only an 83 overall. He's definitely an Unk. We could have gone with Buddy Hield, but I think this trade's a little bit more exciting. CJ McCollum has superstar ability. It just depends on the game, but we'll also get a pick back with this. I want to see if maybe we can get another pick out of it. Let's see what they're thinking. Okay, they're not interested in that because we don't have our own pick this year, if you've noticed. So definitely need to acquire one. And I will throw in a future first if they will. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. So they want Carlo Matkovic, who's a pretty young power forward prospect for us that hasn't seen the floor at all. But they'll also give us Gabe Vincent in return. You know, this is season 1. This is the season for us to take risks if we're going to take them. CJ McCollum is an expiring contract that I think we can happily move off after the season to give us room in free agency. So, whatever, take the exception, and we will accept that trade offer. So we will now have to adjust our lineup, put CJ McCollum in, and I will reconvene with you once we have that all set up. Okay, so here's the new look lineup. So DeJounte Murray is going to be running the 1, and CJ McCollum, who's making a reunion tour here with the Pelicans after leaving the team last season, or I guess 2 seasons ago now, will now be joining us again and hopefully bringing us back to the promised land. I'm sure he didn't imagine himself back in a Pelicans uniform, but welcome back, pal. So we will now see how long we will sim until our next spin. This one was quite chaotic, I will definitely say that, but maybe, just maybe, it helps our roster out. All right, we'll shuffle up this games wheel now, make it a little bit more random, and we will see how long until our next spin. Oh, it's looking like it's going to be another long period, so we'll get a good long barometer test here about how CJ McCollum's reunion in New Orleans goes. So I will check back in with you in 19 games. So 19 games have passed, and it hasn't been that bad. The team has produced some decent basketball. Let's take a look at this box score here. As we can see, CJ McCollum putting up 29, 4, and 4, with Zion doing 28, 6, and 8. So that lineup isn't too bad, I would say. I definitely think that lineup is producing some decent results, but we also have had some definite chunks of losses here. So we still find ourselves 21 and 34 here as we reach the next spin of the wheel. And once again, we will give this a shuffle, and we will see what effect we are doing this time. And it is going to be, are we trading away our draft pick this year? The draft pick we just acquired? The one draft pick, the one that I said it was so important for us to acquire because we didn't have one, and now we will just have to trade away. Is there a cliff anywhere? Anyway, I'll be right back.
I don't have any. Oh my god! Oh jeez! Oh my god! Oh,
Forgot that I needed to see who we traded the pick away to, so we're going to see who the pick is going to be traded to, and it's looking like the Trailblazers are going to acquire this pick. So I will be back once I put something in the trade finder and see what the Blazers are offering us for the pick we acquired. We put this in the trade finder, and could you believe that this pick produced some dog shit? Justin Champagnie, I think, is the best player that we could produce out of this, but that's not particularly impressive or moving the needle for our team much. We can get some future firsts for it, which, you know, I'm less interested. However, the Celtics offered us a deal here that I don't dislike. They're offering us a pick swap this year, which the Celtics could not get very far in the playoffs, and it benefits us. But it's just a swap of players here. They'll pick up Larry Nance, and we'll get Ron Harper out of this. So I definitely think this is a trade that we will take pretty happily. In considering the situation, having to trade away our draft pick and acquiring another pick in the same draft, I think we luck out in that sense, because 9 times out of 10, I feel like we probably wouldn't have been able to find an offer like that. So, with that being said, we'll go back to the games wheel and we will see how long we're waiting now. It's been a mixed bag. We've had quite a few long periods, and we're going to have another one here of 15 games. So, the games wheel is definitely making us wait a while this year. So, I will see you in 15 games.
Okay, so we're checking in really quickly because it has become the contract extension deadline. So we'll take a look here. Everyone on the roster. Jordan Poole wants to re-sign. Does he want something ridiculous? No, he only wants $7 million. And I think we'll happily take a shooting guard of his quality as a backup off our bench. He can shoot the ball, and he can put up some numbers if we need to rely on him. So we'll definitely happily bring him back. But other than that, I don't think there was anybody else. Let me make sure. Gabe Vincent's willing to re-sign, but I am not willing to re-sign him. So with that being said here, we'll keep simming, and I will check back in with you when we have reached 15 games. Okay, so we have reached the 15-game mark of this sim, and we actually had some pretty good success over this period. So the team's starting to blend together pretty well and actually start putting up some good results on the court. And we're only 30-40. So we're already a net positive from how the Pelicans actually did this season. So as we reach our next spin, as we get closer to what could be the last spin, we will see what we are up to this time on the Chaos Wheel. All right, and we are going to give the wheel a spin. What is our team doing here towards the end of the player? Oh, no. Oh, no, man. I was really hoping we were going to be able to build around Zion long term, but it is going to be sayonara Zion as we have to release our best player here. So we are in our roster. Zion Williamson, who has had, can I pull up his player stats? Who has had, I mean, pretty similar stats to what he did last season, is going to become a free agent as we will release him from our roster. I have to now go into our roster and fix things up, and I will check back in with you when I've got our new lineup intact. Okay, so we've got our lineup here. So Derek Queen will now crack the starting lineup with Zion being a free agent. And before we really get anywhere, we're going to... Oh, my God. You can't make this up. Derek Queen breaks his arm as we just put him in the starting lineup. Let me fix that, and I'll be right back. Yves Missi is going to slide up to power forward, and Brook Lopez is going to get back in the starting lineup now.
I mean, this team is a disaster. We are going to check in on the transaction report because I want to see. So Zion hasn't been signed by anybody. We'll sim through today. Did he get signed today? Still no, because I'm really interested to see where he ends up. Did he get signed yet? Is he still a free agent? This would be really interesting if he goes unsigned. He is indeed a free agent. So, interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and spin the games wheel at this point. We are getting close to the end of the season. There are only about 10 or so games, but we will see if we are spinning the chaos wheel once more before the end of the season here. Will we be giving the wheel another spin? It is not looking like it, as it lands on 17. So that means we've spun the wheel for the last time here. And let's just go ahead and start simming, and I will regroup with you at the end of season recap. Okay, so season 1 complete, and to nobody's surprise, Victor Wembanyama comes away as the most valuable player, averaging 27, 14, and 5 with 2 steals and over 3 blocks a game. Truly dominant performances from him this season. So Anthony Edwards also puts up a pretty good season with 31, 5, and 5. Jalen Brunson putting up 32 and 5. Ja also averaging 30. Shea averaging 30. Cade Cunningham almost averaging 30. And I'm looking here. I guess we'll see here in a few seconds if he is on a team or not. But Jokic is out here. Oh, he only played 29 games this year. That's devastating. But he was averaging 29, 15, and 10 up until that point. And Giannis also having a great season, averaging 29, 13, and 6. And then assists-wise, Jokic was leading the league in assists, but Hallie ends up basically leading the league with 8.9 a game. And Trae Young just behind him, and Luka behind him even still. And steals-wise, DeJounte Murray averaging over 2 steals a game ends up leading the league in steals. And obviously, Wemby leads the league in blocks with Chet and Rudy Gobert close behind. But Peyton Watson also averaging 2 blocks a game this year. Is pretty great. So, Cooper Flagg wins Rookie of the Year. Kobe White is your 6th Man of the Year. Wemby, Defensive Player of the Year. Nimi Keita wins Most Improved. Shea wins Clutch Player of the Year. Chris Finch is your Coach of the Year. And the GM of the Spurs is your Executive of the Year. So all NBA first team comprised of Wemby, Giannis, Luka, Jason Tatum, and Tyrese Halliburton. Jason Tatum averaging 29, 8, and 5, having himself a great season. And then DeJounte Murray this year ends up on All-NBA second team. I'm sorry, man. I shouldn't have been talking smack about your game, as he comes out and he averages 23, 6, and 6 with 2 steals. So great performance from him this season. Maybe one of the lone bright spots on the roster. And nobody else in the All-NBA squads for us. No all-defensive guys, which is kind of surprising considering that DeJounte Murray had a great season defensively. And rookie-wise, I don't think we had any rookies on our squad, so it's not surprising we didn't see anybody there. But playoff time, we are not in the playoffs, obviously, so we will sim the play-in and the first round. But do we have any interesting basketball to pay attention to here in round 2? We have a Clippers versus Golden State matchup here, as the Spurs will sweep the Mavs to get in the conference finals. And then the Hawks here are in the conference finals on their side of the bracket, as we will sim another couple games and see if we have a Game 7. We do here between the Knicks and the Celtics. That is a matchup that we have seen in the past and has not gone the Celtics' way. Let's hop in here in the Simcast and see what there is to see. I did not stop the sim in time, and it looks like Game 7 ended up coming down to the wire. It was a 2-point victory for the Knicks. Shame I didn't stop it in time. That is my fault. But conference finals time is upon us, as it is a Spurs-Warriors conference finals. That is definitely interesting, as the Knicks will give the Hawks the gentleman's sweep to advance themselves to the finals. And will we see a real-life finals matchup here, as Game 6 will be a Spurs victory? So here in the chaos world, the Spurs and the Knicks are still destined to see each other again, as Wemby only averages 22 points a game, but 15 rebounds, as well as almost 3 blocks to win Western Conference Finals MVP. And Cat is your Eastern Conference Finals MVP, averaging 28, 9, and 4. So interesting performances from both sides there, and we will now have a real-life rematch of the finals, as the Knicks are going to take Game 1. Spurs will strike back in Game 2. Knicks Game 3. Oh, we are having a finals, folks, as the Spurs take Game 5. We'll watch the Simcast for Game 6 to see what there is to see. And the Spurs are playing some dominant basketball, and it is a 14-point game. There's no way that is real life what I just am seeing up there. De'Aaron Fox has 41 points in the closeout game. Now I know this is a simulation, because Wemby only did 28 and 8, while De'Aaron Fox is out here scoring like he's 22 years old again. So the Spurs win the championship in our universe, and Wemby will win a finals MVP. 25, 12, and 5 are his final stats, with 2 steals and 4 blocks a game. Yeah, you got it, big fella. And we will now walk into the offseason of our first season at the Pelicans organization and try to do something big here. We should have plenty of cap room without Zion on the roster, so we will have to hit the board here running and see what we can make happen. Okay, so we are in our points here, and I mean, obviously we are not a great program, so we are not getting a ton of points for our program. As we see the retirements here, big retirement class, including LeBron, Chris Paul, Mike Conley, Al Horford, K-Love, Westbrook, Curry. Who else? I mean, there's so many guys in here that retired. Klay Thompson's also in here. And we will see who ends up in the Hall of Fame, as it's LeBron, Steph, Chris Paul, and Russ ending up in the Hall of Fame. And there is a lot of jersey retirements here. Let's see. All of these are absolutely valid jersey retirements, so we'll leave all of those alone. And no rule changes, so we will enter the draft lottery here. Do we have anything to get excited about? Well, the Hawks have our pick. The pick that I think that pick was traded to them previously, if I am not mistaken here. So we will go ahead and sim, and where does the pick that we acquire end up? Okay, so we get the 18th pick. And wow, so the pick swap that we made with the Celtics ends up moving the Celtics up 1 pick, and we end up with the pick behind them. So that trade really ends up being not much of anything for either side as far as the picks are concerned, but that's fine. Is Destiny a man? No, it's a woman. Okay. Not that that's a problem. I've got no problem. I've just never seen a woman candidate in the staff hiring. It's usually always just dudes. But shout out Destiny Armstrong. She's going to be our CFO for the next 4 years. We love a woman in power. There's nothing quite like it. Am I right, fellas? Now, we will head on down to the NBA draft here, because it is time to spin our draft chaos wheel. So every year when it comes draft time, we will spin this wheel, and whatever it lands on is what we have to achieve during this draft cycle. So let's bring the wheel up here and see what it's going to be in our first season with the Pelicans. We'll make sure to give this wheel a good old spin up. And what are we going to have to try to achieve in our first draft in the Pelicans organization? No, dude, this is like almost like bar for bar what happened in our first season with the Clippers. And this is just not the draft we want to have to trade away the entire draft for. Okay, so who's acquiring our entire draft on the teams list here? I mean, come on. Give me a break. Let me at least draft somebody to help make our team better. So the Orlando Magic are going to acquire the 18th pick here. I'm going to throw it in the trade finder and see what the Magic are offering for it, and then we will see what we can get. Okay, so the Orlando Magic don't have a ton of capital to really be working with here as far as like trading their assets. I mean, they've got their big guys here that we are definitely not going to be able to acquire with the picks that we have. And, like, there's no way even Wendell Carter or, like, a Tristan Da Silva is going to be someone we can acquire with that pick. So I would rather just acquire future capital for next draft. Because if you look here, the Magic have no draft picks. So can't acquire anything else, really. So we are throwing this deal out for them for a first and 2 future seconds. And they don't want to give that up. Okay, maybe just a future first? Really? Okay, maybe... Okay. So they don't want to give up their first round pick next year. That feels really great. Makes me feel awesome. And let's see. I mean, I guess we'll go with this Memphis pick in 2029. Yeah, great. So that really sucks. And I'm not even going to watch the draft because we have no part in it. I mean, I guess we'll look at the recap as the Grizzlies will get A.J. DeMonsa, Cam Boozer to the Wizards, and Darren Peterson will go to the Nuggets. Michael Brown Jr. to the Hawks, and Yaxel Lendeborg will go to the Jazz. So, would have loved to have ended up, I mean, who did they get at 18? Dash Daniels, I mean... Oh, I guess Dash is Dyson Daniels' brother. I guess that makes sense. So, yeah, sucks to be out of that draft. But we now have to turn our attention to our options. I think Yves Missi we are willing to bring back. And then, I mean, Bryce McGowens, what's your potential looking like? C+? I mean, I think we let you walk, really, and then we just kind of reassess what there is in the free agency class. Obviously, we do have to answer to the wheel, but we do have the opportunity here to make some big moves. So what is that big move for us? As we can see, Zion ends up in free agency here. Did he sign anywhere after we let him go? We never really ended up getting to see. Doesn't look like he ended up signing anywhere. So, I mean, would it be really funny for us to bring Zion back, maybe? Let me take a look at our cap holds and make sure that we're good on that first, because I saw a huge cap hold number. Fix that, and now we have 50 mil in cap room we can spend. So, are we able to bring back... I mean, it says we can't afford Zion, but I don't know if that's true, really. So, I mean, it says I can offer him a deal, and that's what we're going to do. We will definitely throw a team option in here, because I don't trust Zion to stay healthy for anything, really. But we could bring in Zion and... or bring him back after having to trade him away here, and that would give us... I mean, that would give us a star again at small forward / power forward. And, you know, part of me is, you know, like, who else can we sign here? I mean, we are going to expect that Jeremiah Fears will step up here. And then maybe we let DeJounte Murray play some shooting guard. And then... I mean, Sadiq Bey is good, but he just wasn't, you know, producing a ton this season. So we'll have to see. This is definitely a situation where we bring the talent in and then we figure it out. And then, so we have 2 other offers to make today. I mean, Isaiah Hartenstein is interesting. Walker Kessler's restricted. So is Mark Williams. I mean, do we want to spend 14 mil on Isaiah Hartenstein? Is he really that worth it? I don't know. I think Yves Missi might, you know, take that step up and be fine. And we would just benefit from a really solid like stretch center to come off the bench, like a Marvin Bagley, who I will offer a deal to. And then what do we do? I mean, shooting guard wise, we still have Jordan Poole on the roster, but I think we're going to move someone over. So we need a backup point guard, I think. And then we will bring Zion in. So we need a small forward and, well, we need a power forward, I think, to back up Derek Queen. So who do we want to have out of this class? A stretch four would be nice. Stretch basketball is just the way to go. Sandro Mamukulashvili, I can't get his name right. I definitely will never get it right. He's a decent stretch big. He's a little bit undersized, I think, for what I'd like as a power forward in, this day and age. There's also Jonathan Kuminga here, but he's expecting almost 17 mil. Or we could go with Rui, who's only expecting 8, and he's a much better shooter. I actually really like that idea. And we will let those 3 offers air out, and we have 3 deals that are going to be accepted. Now, cap-wise, I don't know. Okay, we do have the cap room to bring all of those guys in, just barely. So let's take a look at the point guards now and try to get somebody in the building. Oh, well, these are point guards that have signed. That's not helpful. Let's see, point guards, Ben Simmons. Yeah, the Ben Simmons left reclamation project right here. We could go Javon Small. He is restricted, though. I'm sure his deal might get matched. But maybe we throw the deal out there anyway. We've got a couple of offers to play with. And then we could pick up Scottie Pippen Jr. He's not the worst, but I think I'd rather go with Bones Highland here, who's a better shooter and a little bit younger even. So we will send those offers out, and we will wait and see who is accepting. If Javon Small accepts the offer as well as Bones Highland, we have a problem. But, yeah, okay. So maybe it's not necessarily the smartest thing to do that, but we'll go ahead and send the offer out to Bones Highland there, and that is our signing. So we will adjust the roster here, and then I will check back in with you in just a second. Okay, so roster adjusted here. So as you can see, we'll let Jeremiah Fears take over at point guard. DeJounte Murray is going to slide over to shooting guard. Zion is going to come back and play some small forward now. Rui and Derek Queen will have an equal shot there to play power forward for us. And then we are hoping that Yves Missi steps up here in the offseason, but we also have Marvin Bagley Jr., who can be a solid starter, I think, for us. So let's get in here to player progression. Let's see how our guys are looking after a season of progression. Zion does take a little bit of a step up, as does DeJounte Murray at 29. Jeremiah Fears does take a big step up. That's good to see. Derek Queen gets a little bit better. Sadiq Bey takes a step down. I'm not too worried about that. And Yves Missi does go up a little bit. And Bones Highland gets a little bit better. And Jordan Poole also gets a little bit better. So, solid improvement overall from the team here. Especially the guys that we needed to step up, like Yves Missi getting a little bit better, I think, puts us in a lot of better position. And I think this roster could actually make some noise next season if all goes according to plan. But will all go according to plan? That is always the question when we do these Chaos Wheel rebuilds. And with that being said, that means we are at the end of this first episode of this Pelicans rebuild. What an episode this ended up being. We ended up having to do quite a lot to our team, and we ended up having to say goodbye to Zion Williamson simply because the wheel willed us to do so. So we will see what happens next episode when we get back on with the New Orleans Pelicans. But until then, if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to help our channel grow and reach more people so we can have even more people tuned into this chaos. And I hope that I will see you guys in a new episode here very soon. Take care.